Okay, finally. Good morning, goddesses. I guess I just have to wait until my streaming thing actually hits Facebook. I don't know what issue we ran into there. That was the first time that's ever happened. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to play our Christmas song for the day, and then we'll get started with the Astro Forecast. Today's Friday. It's Venus Day. It's easily my favorite day of the week. My favorite day of the week used to be Monday because it was when Atlas went back to school and I kind of spent it doing all my personal development and stuff like that. But today, on Fridays, these are my self-indulgent days. So these are my favorite days of the week. So happy Friday. Let's go ahead and listen to our Christmas song for the day. And then we'll go ahead and pop into our Astro Forecast and all that kind of good stuff. We're getting real country today. Woo! All right. Quite possibly the worst song I've ever played on the Sexy Sunrise Show. But we're going to roll with it. All right. So welcome to the Sexy Sunrise Show. If you've never joined me before, my name is Bianca Adelia. I've been a professional boudoir photographer for almost 6 years. And I just take this time every single day to stop patterns that don't support self-love first thing in the morning and wake up our big goddess energy by doing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you my intention for the type of woman I want to be today. And then we'll pop into our Astro Forecast. And then the way that I go into the Astro Forecast is in a very personal journey type way rather than what's going on in the world. So my intention for today is to be a woman who allows myself to be self-indulgent. So I'm going to make me some chocolate covered strawberries today, and I'm not going to make myself feel like it's bougie. I'm not going to make myself feel like it's too much. I'm not going to make myself feel like I'm high maintenance or anything like that. I'm simply going to allow myself to indulge in all of life's pleasures. So that's the type of woman I'm going to be today. Let's go ahead and pop into our Astro Forecast. And before we go into the Astro Forecast, I just want to reiterate that I'm not a professional astrologer, and this is something that I use in my own personal development journey. And I wouldn't go on here and talk about anything that I wouldn't have conversations within myself, like if they looked different. So I'm definitely a type of person that when I want to do something, I jump into the fire, and either I find my way out of the fire or I learn to walk in the fire. And I believe that's one of my strengths, that I don't need credentials to do what I want to do. So let's go ahead and go into the Astro Forecast today, because this one was kind of complicated, and that's why I wanted to reiterate that I was not a professional astrologer, although I will be. I just wanted to reiterate that. All right, so let's take a look at the sun because we're in 12 degrees of Sagittarius, and what that's going to do is it's going to magnify our senses. So that's perfect for Venus Day and like self-indulgence and stuff like that. But what it might also do is put this spotlight on, like if you're someone who like doesn't like germs, or if you're someone who, like when your kids are sick, you think you're sick, or, you know, if anyone, like you go on Wikipedia and you look up symptoms and you're like, oh my gosh, I have this, this, and this, and this. Like if you're that kind of way, you could feel overwhelmed in this sense also because of those magnified senses. So super important to kind of like stop it if you see it's happening. With the moon, we've just entered into Leo and we're at 0 degrees. So we're right on this cusp between Cancer, like Cancerian energy, and big Leo energy. So we know Leo energy can stereotypically is known for like that arrogance. And then Cancerian energy is kind of known for this like emotional mood swing thing, but it can also kind of dip into this kind of dependency, or it might seem as though they need someone to kind of like hug them sometimes. So we're right on the cusp of that. And what we can see here is that the moon being right there on the cusp, it might not necessarily bring out the best aspects of each of these signs. We might have this like tension, this pull in our personal relationships or relationship within ourselves of this want or need to kind of stand in your power. And then also this want or need to kind of seek a more fluid role in being dependent on other people. So there's going to be this kind of like tug and pull, this kind of tension between that. In the upcoming days, we've seen some highlights on vulnerabilities and maybe needing verification from others that what you're doing is correct, or needing some kind of validation. So validation has kind of been a lingering energy in the air the last couple days. So Mercury is in 4 degrees of Sagittarius today, and this is that peace-loving energy, but if like privacy is invaded, or if you feel attacked, you might have that like quick fuse today. So, but you don't want to, but there might be like a quick change there. And then Venus, which is, Venus is our love, beauty, passion, kind of like love, beauty, sensuality, stuff like that. That's our Venus sign. And as far as personal development goes, I like to call it our self-love sign. So here you might see like, this sense of humanitarianism today. So you want to help people. And with the moon in Leo right at the cusp, you're kind of torn in that communication with maybe giving the wrong advice, or maybe your advice will come off a little abrasive and you didn't intend for it. You intended to help, but maybe you come off a little bit insensitive or something like that. We've got these magnified senses today with the 12 degrees of Sagittarius in the sun. So we might react to things a little bit more differently than we normally would. So let's go ahead and check out the astro events. And this is where it kind of got complicated for me today. So we've got Mercury squared up to Ceres. So like I was saying, you're going to have this open-hearted kind of feeling, but you might come off too blunt or too honest. And this can be a direct reflection of like the way that you speak to yourself. And this is huge, huge, huge. And I find it really fascinating that when I start talking about things, everything kind of like, everything kind of comes together. So even when I was talking about prefacing this as this is a journey that I'm on, and a lot of people, like I'm someone who just throws myself into the fire, but a lot of people don't feel that kind of conviction due to worries about like, is someone going to think that I'm stupid? Are people going to laugh at me because I don't know what I'm doing? Like these kind of things. And these are definitely thoughts that I have as well. It's just I care about me more, and I care about the stuff that I'm interested in more. But I still deal with that same stuff. And and with the open-hearted feelings, and then this not ability, possibility that you might come off too blunt or someone else might come off too blunt. A lot of the women that I talk to, a lot of the people that I come in close with are women who also deal with suicidal thoughts, lots of women who deal with depression, because that's something that I went through. So this is something that I pull in. And if you're someone who might be dealing with that today, something really, really important to remember, especially when I was going through my depression. When I was going through my depression, it was an absolute self-loathing, and the things that I would tell myself were just absolutely insane. So in retrospect, or like in comparison to me getting on here and talking about something that I'm not necessarily a professional in, like the things that people could say about me don't even scratch the surface of how like evil I was to myself, like how hard I was on myself, if that makes any sense. So if you're a type of woman who does relate to the things that I went through, just remember that. Like if someone says anything about you or whatever, literally you can just say like, is that the best you got? Like, so we're going to have this open-hearted kind of feeling that we want to help people. We want to give them our knowledge. We want to give them our 2 cents and stuff like that. But the way that we come off might be a little bit insensitive. So we want to pay attention to that today. But not only do we have Mercury squared up to Ceres, which creates this kind of like tension, we also have a trine with Mercury and Chiron with the moon. So Chiron is still in retrograde in Aries. So we want to remember that. We want to remember that Chiron is basically, Chiron is the path that we're trying to take to heal ourselves, if that makes sense. Like the thing that Chiron represents is the thing that we are kind of like pulled to, kind of magnetized to, that will fix us or heal us or any like past karmas or anything like that. So with the moon trined up to that, what we want to do is we want to take that bigger perspective that we've been kind of diving into. So today's Friday. Wednesday, we were kind of being forced to see this big picture. Thursday, we were trying to see the big picture in relation to seeing it through someone else's eyes. And today, what we're going to see is that big picture really tested and really challenged. So we really want to keep in mind those 3 things we've kind of been going through the last 3 days. So as we're helping people, we're aware of the experience someone else is having of us, as well as us having an experience of them. So we want to keep those perspectives kind of rolling in these efforts of us trying to help people, if that makes any sense. We all have so many amazing gifts and everything like that, and sometimes our gifts translate in a different way. We have to really know who exactly we're talking to when we speak if we really want to be effective. So we have this ability to help today, but it might not be effective if we do not keep those perspectives in mind. So in respect to the self journey, because that's how I like to take these astro forecasts, is not necessarily what's going on in the world, but what might be happening in ourselves. And the self summary we might get from this is, and this is literally a theory. This is a theory I've put together based on the information that I've kind of gathered. But what I would think is that this kind of relates to having this dependency to kind of be seeking answers from other people, or we might be taking the wrong advice, or we might be thinking that the advice that someone has is the thing that's going to fix us, rather than relying on that own inner knowing. And I think I've kind of mentioned human design in my previous lives and things like that, but we all have an inner knowing, and we listen to that inner knowing in a different way. So some people are very intuitive. So there's this like weird whisper, and it comes through as a thought. And it takes a while for us to really understand it, because when it translates to a thought, it doesn't quite make sense. So it's just a thought. It's just like a dream that could mean anything that just happens in your life. And until certain signs have been put in order and you've developed that intuition, it doesn't really make any sense. Other people make their decisions and their inner knowing based on what their emotions look like and riding an entire emotional wave. And then there's other people who just have this like energetic, like when they feel like something's right, their body just fills up with energy and they get really excited. So those are some different ways that people are able to listen to their own inner knowledge, their own wisdom and stuff like that. So today, really, as you're trying to help people with what you're doing, keep in mind who you're talking to and what experience you think they're having of you. And then pay attention to your own inner knowledge. So that's the Astro Forecast we have today. Let me go ahead and check the comments. Ooh. Hey, Beth. Yeah, exactly. So I don't care about what people say about me. I'm the same. It doesn't compare to stuff I tell myself. Exactly. And I think there's so much power in that because you and I, Beth, because we have that, I wouldn't call it an issue. I would call it a strength. And it's not that we don't care what people think, but it's we care about ourselves and what we're doing more. And there's so much power in that because there's so many opportunities that I've been able to be part of and learn so many things. And had I let the fear or the negative self-talk kind of get in my way, I never would have experienced some of the things in my life. Same thing with the astrology thing here. Hey, Brooke. Same thing with the astrology thing here. Like, I'm not a professional astrologer. I'm taking a class right now, but I'm in no means qualified to come on here and talk about it. But it's something I enjoy, and I know it's something that I am pursuing higher education in, and I will do. And so it doesn't matter. You don't really need any qualifications to do what you want to do. You know what I mean? Like, who cares what anyone says about anything? But yeah, good morning. Ooh, thank you. But yeah, that's the Astro Forecast today. And if you let me be part of your morning, thank you so much. I truly try to value your time and only get on here and talk about stuff that I think matters, that matter to me. And yes, today is all about Venus energy. And you too, I'm actually dropping the Celine Lightroom preset in the app today. So I'm super excited about that. But yeah, I will see everybody again tomorrow, 10:15-ish. And I'll see you later. Bye. Oh, just saw your comment. I don't want to ignore you. Last few days, I've been on a downward spiral and listened to you. Aw, thank you. Like, I think that's what it's all about. Like, for me, at least, because I'm going to be perfectly honest, I do deal with depression quite frequently, and I notice what the feelings are now. And stopping the patterns, I feel like, has been the most powerful thing in my life. Like, just being self-aware and recognizing exactly what's going on and just realigning. It's either realigning my energy or it's telling myself it's okay. Like, I've been my energy has been so low lately, and since I've kind of connected to my intuition, usually it means something is coming. Like, I need to rest because something is coming. And yeah, so I've gotten into a place where when I'm having those days, usually it would completely destroy me. It would completely break me. I would think I wasn't good enough, or like I was ignoring Atlas, or I, wasn't doing what I thought I was supposed to be doing. And now I simply just let it be. Like, if my body's tired, that's just what it is. My body's tired. If my mind is tired, that's just what it is. If I want to take myself off of my personal Facebook and just get back to myself, it's just what it is. There's nothing wrong with me. Like, does that make sense? Because I don't know, I get these I know exactly what you're talking about because those spirals happen to me too, but I'm able to like see. It's just a different feeling, kind of looking, like it's like I'm looking at my emotion now. Like, I'm just observing my emotion and being curious about it. Like, where'd that come from? Okay. All right. So what do I do now? 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 What can I do now? Like, it's just a different kind of feeling, if you get what I'm saying. But yeah, so happy you can join me, and I'm really going to pop off now. All right, bye. I'm sending so much love to the woman you're meant to be. Bye.